Yeah, I'm out in the shop. Collie wanted to come out, check out, see where I'm working, what I'm doing. It's pretty early in the morning. It's probably 5 or so, early riser. Anyway, last night took that material and just put it up and glued it. Of course, I had surfaced it down to half inch. All the materials cut down to half inch. This stack right here, we need to joint the other side of the boards. I somehow missed them. Anyway, here's the walnut. Of course, it's all right at half inch. I'm gonna put that up, load that up into the bar clamp, strip that up, and glue it up. And what I do is I'll cut these panels into widths, and that'll fit inside the jig. After I get several of them glued up, and then if I have any remnants, I'll glue them back together as well. These I didn't joint these. I just used my saw blade. It's pretty good cut. But I did thickness them, a little bit of sanding. They'll be pretty smooth. So anyway, that's where I'm going, and I've got a little glue up time to do in there. And while I'm doing that, and of course it's daylight hours, I'll be running the CNC on these things, and they'll knock them out while I'm probably getting these sanded up. So that'll be what's going on a bit later on today. There's Miss Groomer. She's grooming. So anyway, I do need to run a couple tests on the laser for the question I had about a tick mark. I may do that this morning. All right, that's pretty much finished with this one section. So I'll pull the cams off of it, and of course I need to vacuum and clean up all the dust with the shop vac. Get it cleaned up, clean the CNC machine a little bit, maybe shoot a little lube on it, and get it ready to go. And then I'll pull this template up with the screwdriver and the screws out of it, and then I will rotate and go to the next one right here and cut those out on the CNC while I'm doing my other work. But for right now, I've got a question that I've got on the deal, so that's what I'm going to get done there. So let me get that pulled out. All right, I just backed the screws out of there. It's kind of funny, this was over here this side, so this apparently hit this at some point. But that's one of the things that you got to look out for is whenever you're doing adjusting and your tolerances is quite. This broke off the end of this little plywood on there, and you got to watch out so that it don't change your Z's or your X's or your Y's. Anyway, so I got all these ready to go. And pull them off of there, and of course I'll pop them up. But will tell you, buy the box of these screws here. They're brass. I'll just keep a little assortment for my jig, so if I do hit it with a bit or something that goes cattywampus and it comes strafing across there, it won't break a $20 bit, and it'll pay for all them screws with one deal. And then also these little brass washers right here, you can get 12 of them for like $10, $11, and they make great shims. They make great reinforcements for your cams. It keeps all of your pressure straight down. It's brass. It's, basically if it gets a little bent out, you turn it upside down and bend it right back. So anyway, the brass has great memory retention as far as that goes. And I use some fender washers as well. They're steel, but whenever I'm preferably will go with the brass and these low deal just to keep me from breaking bits and going on. Some of these guys have these big clamps hanging out there. I'm thinking, oh my. And of course, if you look around, they're all chewed up pretty much if they do much of it. Anyway, so let me get my screwdriver out, pop this off, put this stuff away, and of course I keep it all handy. This stuff right here goes down here, down in the bottom down there in my resource bin, and we'll get that and clean this thing up, and let's get that done. Kind of funny, the tools of the trade. Kind of funny, some of the tools of the trade. This is my quick draw screwdriver, and I basically will pop this out and pop everything up, and then pull the pin nails out. And so that little tool right there is right there by my shop because I was going with it all the time, and of course it just keeps it there handy. So little CNC box. And anyway, yeah, I know I said that 3 times. Let's get to it. Okay, just a quick pry. You've got all their jig boards up. They just got a little bitty pin nail hole in them. And there's what's left over with your pin nails. Just go around there with a pair of needle nose or wire cutters and pop them out, and it's ready to go for the next project. Alright, this is my jig board. Of course, all my pieces fit down in here, so that sets them up for where they sit at. And when I'm only working, I only tack down this one section, so I pulled out like 9 little of them pin nails. And then down in here, he's got these little pin nails that hold this piece down. I just generally go around the perimeter of it. I don't really nail down too much of it. And basically, I'm going to be sliding this thing back around, and I'll be doing the front one in there and then re-registering it. So let me put it over here at the top. I also, in my Vectric, is I make the jigs and leave them in with my jig, so if I ever destroy that or need it for another project, then I can recut the jig real quick. This is basically, really simple. You basically just take your nail holder and put the old crank on it, and every now and then I'll break one off, and but if I do, it's really no big thing because these nails are soft enough where they don't hurt the cutters. So they're basically, and then of course I run them off back here to keep it up. So, and this is my cutting board, and when it gets really bad, I just flip it over, and in this case I can flip it over and turn it around and nail it back down. So try to get the most out of my waste boards. These are my 2 jig boards. That's 3/4 inch particle board or 3/4 inch MDF, 3/4 inch particle board. As you can see, I've surfaced it down, so it's down about 5/8. But if it gets down to a point and I need more height, then I can just glue on another piece of particle board, and I resurface it to get it level. And once I started doing this, I never had any trouble with my pieces, my V carves, because this is flat, and it makes a good surface for doing that. Let me get her vacuumed up. Well, a few minutes later, I've got most of the dust cleaned up on there. I'm going to shoot a little lube on my rails and just some silicone. I greased it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I'm probably all right on my grease, but mainly the rails. And just shooting a little lube on there makes a big difference. So let's get her done. Cleans up nice. It sure beats having to clean the whole shop. Been there, done that. Said, okay, we need closure. But anyway, just a little bit of cleaning in a 4 foot by 4 foot area, and she's clean, ready to roll again. All right, you can see my table. This is my jig table, and you can see at some point or another, sometimes things burn into it, lasers get into it. I cut even deeper than my regular board to get something that goes off. So making a jig board that you can replace or go down. I can also put a bit and flatten this out and get rid of all of it. I've filled a lot of these things with just sawdust and some regular glue, and for the biggest part, but it's just as flat as can be, and we can V-carve right over top of that. This is the piece that I just took off of there, and I'm exploring a laser issue that just burnt that S all the way down there, and so I'm going to turn this over so that I can get a good idea of what's going on here. And for the biggest part, make sure there's no more nails in that. I don't think there is, but I'll put that down flat. All right, nice and flat. Use about 10 little pin dent 23 gauge pin now. They're about 3/4 of an inch long, and they'll do a good job of holding that down in there. And it's pretty flat. About back corner, I don't care about it. I don't do much back in that corner. Most of my stuff's back in here where I want it to be nice and flat. I could go back here and make it flat, but it's not material to what I'm doing. Anyway, let's get this laser going and see if we can reproduce this glitch. All right, before I go to gluing up, I like to put a line, pencil line across there. I just took a ruler and put it diagonally across there, and that pretty well lines up my board, so when I'm gluing them back up, I know what face I want. Now I'm going to tilt them all up, put glue down it, and get her glued up. All right, one section is one that's glued up, and yeah, I did the typical, put a little bit too much pressure and it all buckled on me. In the process, I lost my white pencil line from my easy pencil because it wipes off so easy. But anyway, I got it glued back together. For the biggest part, it's pretty good. There's a little bit of a board or two that's right in here. It's not quite perfect, but you know, when you sand it and get it ready, it's going to be pretty good. Anyway, so get her cut down, get her glued up, and got to straight line some of these and get rid of some of the defects in them on the edges, and we'll get those done whenever it gets late enough to saw. It's still too early. Alrighty, put my line across there, put them up on the edges. Everything that's up gets glue on it, but I generally will start on this one edge, glue one, lay it down, glue one, lay it down, because if you're not careful, you knock them all over and they'll do the domino effect. You have a big mess, gluey mess on your hands. So that's what I'm doing. All right, I'm getting ready to cut these inner boxes out. This is just the box that goes on the inside of it. Just 1/4 inch glue on, and there's no top to it. It just the four sides go together, and then the bottom. And here is the layout for it. And so basically, I'm going to do is just compile the tool path and recalculate them. Make sure that everything's cool, and I'm sure that it will be. It's going to warn of a few things that are going to cut out, which is fine. And it's going through all the setups and giving me all the warnings, box joints is going to cut out. So anyway, I'm good with all that. And but I'm only cutting this one right here for right now, and it went ahead and checked these out. So we're good on that one. So we're going to go over here and cut out tool path, and we're just going to select the tool path. We're going to set it for the arcs inch, and we're going to save the tool path, and we're going to call this inner box. So we go, it's a 1/8 inch mill, so we'll save that. We'll go over here to the USB drive, go under dice, and we'll make a new folder. We're going to call that inner box, and then we're going to put that in right there in the inner box. So, and I'm going to put this out to where it just goes to the underline. I like the underline because of my sharp. It doesn't truncate that first part in there. So we'll click save, and basically we're good to go. So we'll run that down there. We'll click file, save, and then close this out. And I've already got the jig to hold it, so we'll go there and close it. All right, we've got the USB device plugged in. I use a replaceable cord so I don't put the friction in and out of my USB device. This is like a $300-400 piece of equipment. This cord's $4. So if I put the friction right here and I waller this out after doing it 3,000 or 4,000 times, then that one right there is only going to be like still brand new. And I learned that as a phone guy, to put my friction someplace else. I need to do the same thing on my laser and on my laser cord, because this plug will wear out. I need to put a coupler in here with a 4 pin coupler and leave this little short piece on my laser. So I'll probably try and get that done for too long. Anyway, coming back to the jig, these are going to make the front inside box joints, and I've got them. This was its size was 12 1/8. Well, I didn't want to cut that much because this is like got a border around it, so the box joints will stay inside. And so what I'm doing is I cut it down so that I could get more material out of a 2 foot by 4 foot piece of plywood. So, you know, that's why I did that. I could probably change my jig size and bring it in 1/8 of an inch, so that's 12 inches, so that I don't consume more than I need to. So this one piece, that's what I did. So anyway, I put my toggles in again, which holds this down. Pretty well holds it down. And I'll put some little tacks in there for these little pieces because they do move around. And I'll go ahead and do that. There's like 4 or 5 little pieces in there, and we'll get that done. Alrighty, I'm getting ready to put some 1/2 inch nails in this 1/4 inch plywood. And this is the Milwaukee pin nailer. And basically you just slide that in. This is my inventory of nails. I just used a little fishing kit. Got about every size of these. They go up to about 1 1/4 inches all the way down to 1/2 inch. And I mean, that's a bunch. And, you know, I've had this thing for about a year and a half. And I've had like 2 jams out of it. And I use this thing every day. And keep that down there handy. But anyway, that'll shoot a little half-inch tack. That'll pull down there. And they'll just come right out of there. And they'll keep all them little pieces from getting up and flipping around. So, I mean, I've seen it. You can use tape, but it's a whole lot cheaper than tape. I mean, way cheaper. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to get ready to run. All right. Another time getting that done. It is leaving things a little bit fuzzier than I like. But, you know, hey, we'll just see how it goes. All right. Got her in there. She's just a hair rough. That'll sand out just real easy. And I've got my toggles on there. I'm going to take my screwdriver and stick it in here and pop this thing up. And you can see right there, that'll pop up and we'll pull the nails out of it. Well, finally just ended up taking pin nails, went 3 on each side, 2 in the middle here, and then put 3 in each one of these panels because they just keep moving around on me. And so I went with that and we'll pull them out. Okay, while that last one's cutting out, I'm gluing these up. Basically, they fit, don't have to do nothing to them. I put all the smooth faces inside, put the fuzzies on the outside, and then just go around it with glue, drip glue all over the edges, and put her together. All right, I'll move my jig around. I'm getting ready for the slides. First thing I'll do is I'll laser these. So I've got to calibrate for the laser and get it set up for that. And I believe I've got the very corner set. So let me just hit twice on that one and see where she's at. Okay, so that I've got my height set on my laser. So I'm basically all ready to go. And with my Z and my Y and my laser height, all I gotta do is turn on the fan and get her going. This thing I don't need to really hold anything down, so because I'm just cutting them with the laser first. Modify the laser cutter. So I'm going to go over here to the 20 watt and apply that and select it. And so I got the 20 watt selected, and my power is only going to be 20%. So all I'm going to do is just etch the plywood. We're going to leave the move speed at 100, and everything else here will stay pretty much the same. Using the laser thing, we'll calculate it, and then click Save Tool Path. We'll go over to the sides, and let's see here. Yep, that's on the desktop. We want to go down here to the dies and go to sides, and we're going to call that sides laser cut and replace it. Yes, we replaced that because we needed to modify that. Click close. We'll go down here and check this one here out, and that's the text, and we're going to change that to the 20 watt again. Apply, select, change this to 20% power because that 20 watt will burn a hole in there if we put it at 100%. And we'll calculate and click Save Tool Path, and we'll go back to the dice folder, into the slides, and slides laser cut, tap, save. All right, now what I probably would do is just to combine both of them. Now that I've edited both of them, click close. And so I'm going to just tell it to do both of them at the same time. I've got the 2 tool paths in there, but I'm going to go ahead and combine them. And we're going to do a visible tool pass to one file. It's going to take both the laser cutters, some tools, laser. We're going to click Save Tool Path. Again, once again, go down here to that dice folder and the slides, and we're going to just call this all laser cuts. Slides, all laser cuts. And so basically I've got the individuals, so if I have to redo something, and you'll sit there and go, okay, why do I need this? Well, whenever you're mixing all these little cards, if you don't even know which one's up, which one's down, where it goes, this is a whole lot help when you get into that. Okay, so we got that part of it done.
Now we look at our slides profile, and that's just the tool path that goes in there, and we'll cut those out and we'll run that one to last. And so we're looking at, let's go close. We're going to look at the slides profile and look at the file path, and we're going to cut through it. We're going to do it in 2 passes, 1/8 inch end mill, no tabs, and I'll just use the pins on that as well because it just works out better. So click calculate, and it's going to go through there. And let's look at what it says there. Material thickness 25, so it's going to go through it, cut it through with the material, and it's 1/8 inch end mill. So we'll click close, and then we'll save that tool path. And we're going to use the right post processor, which is the ARX inch. Click save tool path, and again, it's trying to put it all on the desktop. Go down here to dice and slides, and we'll just call that slides cutout. And just simply call it that, which I could. So it's, and we'll just call it that. Okay, click save. So I've got the 3 on there. And this is, of course, just the jig that holds the sheet, which is that one right there. So we don't need that one. And we'll click close. We'll click file save. And we're going to save file save as. And that was on the hard drive, so we got that one saved. We're going to go down here, put that same file back on the thumb drive, and save it in there, and call that save. Yes. Okay, so we got that toolpath done, and that'll be.
While those are drying up and gluing, I also took a paintbrush and cleaned it the insides with the glue, and then wiped them down a little bit on the outside. So rough parts, they get sanded, and that's fine. All right, now to these things, basically all I need to do is take a pair of cutters, cut them little guys right there, cut them all out, and then put them over there and get them ready for sanding. So that's what I'm doing next. While that's doing that, it's lasering those slides. All right, these slides are taking 2 minutes and 37 seconds, and that's what I get with them. And I've got, so it's like one more to do. Let's get it popped out of there and screwdriver and throw the next one in. All right, with the 1/4 inch, I went ahead and put in 3 nails per number, and what that does is that makes them stay put. So when it cuts out, because that has a blower on it, and if they're not, and they're too thin for tabs, 1/4 inch and tabs, not so much. Anyway, I've got the cams installed. They're just laying in there tight. They're very tight fit. And soon they're ready to go. Let's cut them out and see what you guys. Alright, just cutting out the slides now. Basically, when you laser that, I know it tells you where to put the pins. The pin nails to hold the slide in place. So this is going to go around here, and basically I'll need to sand the outside of that part just to hair gets rid of the fuzzies. But anyway, it's going to town. Got all them lasers, so that'll help me out. Go. Yeah, I didn't set my height. Going across there, I'm setting at 0, 1. So it's probably going to put a little spot on to the top of the jig. So let me go back in there and change that real quick. Alright, that came out easy enough. There's all the templates, just throw them in the trash and pry them up, load up another set. Well, the secret to this madness is to put 3 of these in each one of these. Keeps them down, keeps them from turning. And we're done. That'll keep all of them 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks from moving around. This holds them in place, and let's let her rip. Alright, the little boxes are all put together. They're a little bit on the fuzzy side, but for the biggest part, they're ready to go. Of course, they will go inside another box and you'll never see them except for the inside. And so they come out all right. I could probably do a little cleaner job by masking them off, but you know, hey, they do pretty good. These little guys here, as you can see, I take these and slip them inside this old guy right here, and put them in them little truss things. It works great for those are all my clamps, and the same goes for the other clamps. They fit down there inside those. So that's a rack of many names, and it holds all kinds of clamps plus all my tools. It's on wheels. I put them on dollies to support it. I put 2 of them Harbor Freight $14 dollies on it because the wheels gave out. And anyway, so but it holds it and it keeps it pretty hardy. All the way up. It's almost 8 foot tall. All right, a lot of fun. These are all fuzzy. Whenever you get done with them, they're a lot better. And I'll probably have to hit them again with a lot finer grit. But right now, this is getting them down to where it's getting the fuzzies off of them and cleaning them up quite a bit. It's a very precision box. It's got to be just perfect to make it work. All right. Yep. Can't be avoided. Got to get the files out. You take this, which is pretty good machining. I could get better at it, but it's pretty close. It always needs to be a touch with sanding. So the file, spend about 15-20 seconds on it, and take it in the file and just clean off all the little things on it that makes it smooth, and it turns into this. And it basically, what I'm doing here is kind of like a locksmith, and these are keys that slide inside these slots. And they need to be, some of them have got to be pretty close, within 32nd of an inch, sometimes 64th of an inch. But anyway, that's what I'm doing, and get the ball in there just so. And I've got three more stacks of 5 or 6. I think it's 3 more stacks of 6 to go through and to clean up. And these are probably the cleanest ones that I've ever made, except for one box over there. It got a little wonky in the CNC, but anyway, I was able to put it back together. It's reinforced by the outside, so yeah. Anyway, but it is a little bit sloppy, but it'll sand up, and you won't even notice it. Anyway, my cards are all been rough sanded. These have all been filed, and just run over the belt sander just a little bit on the table sander to clean them up. And they got into this point right here, and each one of these has to have a little bit of a different kind of cleanup on it, and some of it has remnants, and different file sizes are needed to get in there and clean them up. But as it is, it takes a little time. Probably for the 6 boxes of these, I probably have about an hour and a half of sanding in all of them, getting them sanded up and in pretty good shape. So if you got one of these tools right here, you're way ahead of the game. And that little guy right there can get in them cracks, sands like crazy, and the only thing is it'll eat batteries. So you better have 2 or 3 drills and a couple of battery chargers going, because it will go through the batteries. But hey, it's doing a lot of work. It's sanded all these things, and each one, there's 6 parts, and there's 36 different parts, 2-sided, edges, faces, a lot of sanding. So anyway, there we go. Let's move on to the next step. I think I may take a little break for a while. All right, after a little cleanup, getting glue, dry glue off of there, I'm getting ready to cut them into 13 1/8 inch wide panels. And the remnants I'll glue back together if I need some more for other boards. And we got the table saw set up for it. Dust collection's on, plugged in, just turned it on, and we're ready to roll. So I'll cut one and make sure it's going to fit inside the jig. And here is the jig. It's like the other 3. This one's the other separate jig. And this is the dice box outside boxes, 18 1/8 by 13 1/8. So here we go. All right, I have 3 of those panels. That's just enough to do 6 boxes. And then these are the remnants of those, and I glue them up, so that would make it an extra 2 boxes. So basically I'm going to go ahead and get them milled up, or get them into a situation where I could use them in the future, since I've got them down to dimension, and put them together. So anyhow, there they are, and we're getting there. Still got to file those 3, and I'm just so looking forward to it. But anyway, I need now.